The New South Wales Premier used the words turbocharged today in reference to the clean-up and recovery process within the fire grounds. That's been the favoured phrase of the likes of Kevin Rudd and Anthony Albanese over the past decade, but never mind, it is appropriate. However, the turbocharging that's occurred in this bushfire crisis has come from Scott Morrison and Cabinet today with this $2 billion recovery fund. But logistically, it's also been the unprecedented use of the ADF and the compulsory call-up of 3,000 Army reservists who've been in the field now for the past 24 hours. For all that fake outrage and pile-on against the Prime Minister, these two decisions, coupled with today's $2 billion fund, have been masterstrokes. Even the RFS chief, who, as you know, was blindsided by the decision on the reservists, has been praising the integration of federal and state resources.
The community should have every confidence in the extraordinary professionalism that's extending right from the men and women on the front line interacting with their community right through to the state level, where we've got the best of people, the best of technologies, the best of resources working shoulder to shoulder between all the state agencies, all the non-government agencies and our links with the Commonwealth. It has never been better. Why we would be casting a negative on that is beyond me.
It has never been better. It has never been better. But the use of reservists is an Australian first, and Scott Morrison deserves credit for that. In fact, the 2016 Defence White Paper, which he must have read, recommended using the reservists for natural disasters. But no one's been bold enough to do it. And that's partly because their legislative charter doesn't cater for their use in this way. I see that the opposition leader, though, hasn't missed the opportunity of bashing up the PM again for not informing the RFS chief directly.
I think that at a time like this, people don't want politics to be played, but I find it beyond belief, frankly, that he didn't get a phone call and briefed on what was proposed, and indeed have input into what was proposed, which is what should have happened.
Let's talk about the facts. The fact is the National Security Committee of Cabinet approved the move on Saturday, and the Prime Minister informed the premiers, who are at the top of the command tree in cases of disasters. Why the New South Wales Premier didn't tell the RFS chief is not the PM's fault. The ADF too could have made contact directly with those they're about to work in with. That's not the Prime Minister's fault. But Scott Morrison took the can with grace, as he's done throughout this crisis.
We have enjoyed, as the Commissioner himself has said, a very strong working relationship. There was a breakdown in communications at the Defence Liaison level with the headquarters yesterday. That matter was addressed by the Minister for Defence yesterday, and she made comment about that this morning in the media. And so there's been a subsequent conversation between myself and the Premier and the Minister in New South Wales, and we've addressed any of those issues that arose from that.
But you're probably aware there's still a pile-on happening. There are even stories today about a smirk Scott Morrison apparently exhibited when addressed by the RFS chief. A smirk. So any deserved praise doesn't quite fit the narrative just now. He's damned if he does, and he's damned if he doesn't. But 3,000 reservists have been adding boots on the ground since late yesterday and have been assisting with everything from road clearing and the delivery of basic supplies, including fuel, to literally digging pits to bury wildlife and driving vehicles and machinery within the fire grounds. And they'll be at the ready from state to state, territory as well, when the fires amp up. As the Premier Daniel Andrews said last week, the proactive support given to Victoria by the Australian Defence Force has been very helpful. Who signs off on that? Well, the Defence Minister, overseen by the Prime Minister. The positive side to this disastrous summer, though, will be the turning point for firefighting and preparation in this country. Unlike previous years, like Black Saturday, for instance, reviews won't get bogged down on how a particular fire began, although we do need to create tougher punitive options for dealing with deranged arsonists. We've had 180 charged. There will also be changes to the way we reduce hazards in national parks, has to be. Changes to the way we build homes and community bunkers, and changes to the way we call in the ADF for natural disasters. My only beef, though, with the Prime Minister and the government is that pathetic video, set to music, announcing what the National Security Committee had decided. Bad form, a bad look, and arguably a cynical political use of the military. Let's not see that again. But for now, we have a Prime Minister who's got this.